A poltergeist is hunting down the residents of a residential building in the downtown of Ukraine's capital. Don't miss out. Can the psychics stop the otherworldly force? And what awful secrets of the past will they uncover? This is Psychic Investigations, a channel of true and shocking stories. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants undertake resonant criminal cases and unbelievable paranormal phenomena. The psychics received this video from a resident of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. 3 months ago, in a building in its downtown, Katerina caught a paranormal phenomenon on camera.
We were on our way to our friend's birthday and decided to film a greeting for her when we glimpsed a shadow shoot by. And then we heard rustling downstairs. There was a chair down there. We filmed everything that was happening. It started moving suddenly.
The young woman's story shocked us, and we asked the residents of the building if they had witnessed anything of the sort.
The clapping and some other ghastly noises.
I feel constant fear. Some shadow walks around my apartment. Some images hurl around. I think it's something evil, something terrible.
I woke up to the feeling of being strangled. Honestly speaking, I felt fear. I'm really terrified.
I saw a man standing in some kind of white shirt about this long, and his hands were hanging low. He was standing like this.
I heard some shuffling in the corridor, and I saw something dark shoot by. When I turned around, it rushed under the table and then somewhere else. It wasn't big, it was little, but I don't know what it was.
It turned out that the male residents of this building have been dying one by one.
My neighbor's husband was 57 when he died, and another neighbor had a husband of about the same age. He died too, and so did her son-in-law. My dad died last year. He was 51. My husband is the only man who is left alive.
What were the causes for the deaths?
Heart problems.
Natalia is 22. Her husband, Alexander, works at the Treasury. They married last year and started living with Natalia's parents in this building. But since then, the young man's health started worsening without any apparent reasons.
I feel dizzy, and I feel my heart hurt every night. When I'm at work, I feel all right, but once I come back home, I feel something like negative energy.
The doctors didn't find any problems with Alexander's heart. The spouses fear it might be caused by an otherworldly entity that's lurking in the building.
We are desperate and we don't know what to do.
A boy was recently born to the family. His name is Artem, and now the spouses are seriously worried about their son's safety.
Something strange is happening to him. He screams at night like he's panicked.
The doctors are helpless. They say the boy is absolutely well. The parents even had him baptized, but it didn't help.
He's absolutely calm during the day, but in the evening he starts crying bitterly.
I'm worried about him. I think he sees something.
But what makes the family different from the other residents of the building is that a few weeks ago, something entirely mind-bending started happening in their apartment.
I woke up in the morning and felt something wet and sticky lying on the bedsheet next to me. I asked Mom what it was, and she said it was kissel.
I made the kissel, poured it in cups, and put them on the table. But when we woke up in the morning, it was all over Natalia's bed sheets.
Like somebody had poured that kissel all over me.
Natalia said she'd heard somebody laugh and sprinkle the kissel over her in her sleep.
I heard the voice and laughter. The laughter was female.
After that, little Artem's parents decided to ask the psychics for help. They went to see clairvoyant Yaroslava Fedorova.
Please have a seat. Do you have photos of the apartment? Did you bring them by any chance?
We did. This is the front door, and this is our bedroom.
As soon as the couple entered, I saw an entity behind the man. It wasn't tall. It was female and had something transparent behind her. Something like wings. And the entity approached the man from behind and tired to embrace him. This is the card of love. And this is the card of a child, but the child is dead. See? This is the card of death, but the death is blindfolded, that is, it strikes randomly.
It's so awful. The boy is so small, and he can't say what he's afraid of and what's threatening him.
And a dead man. Look, his death was strange, and he seems to have died recently. As far as I see, it happened less than a year ago. And it feels like everything inside him ruptured. Like his heart was torn to pieces.
I guessed it was my father. At that moment, I felt warmth from behind, as if he had approached me and embraced me.
Natalia's father used to live in the apartment too. Volodymyr only turned 51. He was very fit and actively helped his daughter with her wedding preparations, but he died a few months before the wedding.
The medical conclusion said the cause of the death was chronic ischemia. Although as long as we lived with him, he was never on sick leave.
Lydia says that Volodymyr had felt his death not long before he died, and even chose a photo for his tombstone.
He said, "I don't know what's happening to me. I can't control myself." I don't think his death was natural.
The man is gray-haired? Yes? Your father?
Yes, he was gray.
He's showing that you are next.
My heart sank.
He's standing behind you. He's trying to protect you and your child, but he can't do it. He felt the same thing you're experiencing now. Exhaustion and fear. Look. This creature. It killed him. The transparent creature with wings. I had a vision in which the entity with crystal wings was embracing Natalia's father. And I kept hearing a child's laughter. This was the moment his heart burst. He died from the entity's embrace. And now, it was stuck to Alexander. There's another dead man in the apartment. And he's bluish, like he's been strangled. He's wearing a long shirt.
This is unbelievable. Is the ghost the clairvoyant is describing the one that one of the residents of the building saw?
I saw a man standing in some kind of white about this long.
I asked him, "Who are you?" But he didn't answer and was just standing still. I needed to understand if he was connected to the winged entity and if he could harm the residents of the apartment. Look, the candles went off. It's a very bad sign. It's terrible. Look, do you see it? The profile. It's a little skull.
I wanted to get home as soon as possible to check on my son.
Who's sitting with the boy?
My mom.
Natalia calls her mother immediately. The woman tells her that Artem has been hysterical since the morning, and she can't calm him down.
He sees it in an old mirror. It emerges from it and stands in the corner of the room.
The mirror is on the left side.
I saw a man, and his gaze was fixed on the boy. I felt great threat that was emanating from him.
Yaroslava Fedorova accompanies the spouses home. Clairvoyant Rubina Tsibulska also joins the investigation. We installed a monitor in the courtyard so everyone could watch the events inside. Because all these people want to understand what is going on in the building where they live.
Are these the psychics?
There is a psychic in front of the building.
Yaroslava, hello?
These are Natalia and Alexander. I'm having a vision of a hanged man looming over the child and watching him closely.
I've seen this man. He looks odd, like he came from the old times. He's above the child, do you see? Quick, get the boy. We need to put a protection spell on him while we're trying to sort it out.
Give me a glass full of salt to put the candle upright. The man's spirit emerged from the mirror. A mirror is a portal between the realm of the living and the world of the dead. We needed to neutralize the spirit, at least temporarily, to prevent him from coming out of the mirror. Let's put it in front of the mirror.
The salt fell and spilled.
Our protection jar with the salt fell.
All of a sudden, there was a crash and it fell. There was nobody near it. I got worried about my son.
It's calling me somewhere. Is it?
A female spirit.
She's taking away men. And what is this man doing?
He's taking children. He's threatening your child. There are 2 spirits here. It feels like they're looking for something.
The woman wants to take something. You took something that belonged to a dead person who wanted to keep the thing.
The woman is showing me something oblong.
It's something that is passed from generation to generation in your family.
We have my mother's dress.
It turned out that the female line of the family has been passing on the great-grandmother's embroidered dress for several generations.
Great-grandma's embroidered dress. It's very beautiful. It's more than 100 years old. It's made of old cloth that people used to make and embroider themselves. The blouse was used to invite people to a wedding. She wanted to be buried in it, but it stayed in the family.
It's a widow's dress.
All the women who married in it ended up widows.
Yes, Grandma widowed when she was 29. Great-grandma widowed at 29 too.
Natalia's mother became a widow recently, and now her son-in-law is also in danger. Is it possible it's the great-grandmother's spirit taking away all the men of their family one by one?
She wanted to be buried in that dress, and so she wanted to take it back. That is, they needed to put it in her grave.
She simply wanted to return the thing that belonged to her. Her last wish before death was to wear that dress.
But there's something else, something more dangerous. You know, I feel cold that's taking me that way. Men can't live here.
They all died from the same condition.
All the men who died in the apartments on this floor in the recent years did it suddenly, and they were all diagnosed heart problems.
Is the owner of this apartment home?
Come in.
This woman's name is Katevan Bukedzi. She and her husband, a businessman, arrived from Georgia, but then he suddenly died.
He felt he would die soon. When we were at our friend's birthday celebration, he said, "It's the last time we see each other." My friend later told me he said farewell to her. Men are being taken away in this building.
The female spirit is doing it.
I have a feeling the walls here are not original. Like it used to be a common space. A single room.
It used to be a single room.
Such buildings used to have very large rooms with luxurious decorations.
The building is old. It was built in the last century. In case the paranormal phenomena are somehow connected to its past, we invited a historian. It's possible he can explain the visions the clairvoyants have.
I have pictures running in front of my eyes like slides. The room with the high ceiling, people in old dresses, a piano's playing, and I hear a child's laughter.
Yaroslava, look here.
Oh my goodness.
A man's corpse. A man's corpse lying. Oh, look.
It was terrible, unimaginable. Very long ago, a fortune teller told Mom a man's restless spirit roamed our apartment.
He's in a white shirt with ruffles. This is an old apparel. He's bluish. He's hung and...
In the late 19th century, the family of Moise Galperin, one of the largest sugar manufacturers of that time, lived in this building. He provided cigar to the emperor's court.
This man, he had everything, but he died bearing great suffering. I can't be here. Let's get out of here, please.
Oh my God, it's so awful.
This is unbearable, so much pain.
Isaac Galperin committed suicide. He hung himself in his apartment.
I see great grandeur in the room. Everything is so luxurious. It used to have luxuriously decorated walls. There's gold and beautiful molding on them.
I saw the old pictures. There were very beautiful tables and chairs with high backs, covered in cloth, and the plates were gilded.
Lighting was among the most peculiar elements of decoration of that time. In this case, we're talking about chandeliers, custom-made on order.
I hear children's laughter, and I hear that from this part of the apartment. The child, a little girl, a bow on her hair. And she's running and hopping.
Isaac Galperin had a daughter whom he loved madly. Her name was Sophia.
I see a piano or a grand piano. The girl was probably doing her music exercises. And she's running there from there. Something falls here. And it scatters. Everything scatters like glass wings. I saw a huge chandelier fall on the child.
Little Sophia finished playing a composition and she needed to change the sheet. She went to the desk, on which sheet music. The chandelier suddenly fell, and the girl was gone in an instant. The chandelier was made of bronze and crystal in the shape of a large bunch of grapes. It weighed around 150 kilograms.
She was crushed. She was running to her dad, calling him, and it happened the moment he entered the room. His child died in front of him. He could do nothing. How could he live after that, considering he himself had bought the chandelier?
He hung himself after that.
He died the following year, unable to live without his beloved daughter.
You can't wish such tragedy even to your enemy.
So it means she strangled all those men.
She's searching for her dad. She wants to embrace him, but she doesn't understand how she could do it.
The spirits of the girl and her father. They're searching for each other. So he hung himself. He took his own life.
Yes.
And she died tragically. They're in the parallel worlds, and they can't meet.
The two spirits of the father and his child, they keep searching for each other. The girl's spirit will keep taking men away, seeing her father in them, and the man will keep taking children. So we decided to try to help them meet. All right. So we need a round loaf bread and threads from this home.
And knives.
We'll use them to cut the paths leading here, and thus we will reunite them.
He felt he would die soon. He's in a white shirt with ruffles. This is an old apere.
I hope you won't cry anymore, and your tears will be tears of joy and happiness.
We are sincerely grateful.
Thank you so much.
Sometime later, we checked if anything had changed in this family's life.
My son is a lot better, and so is my husband. Now all those events are like a memory of a bad dream. We are grateful to the psychics for helping us.
If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel to never miss new impressive investigations by the psychics. A raven spirit is taking the residents of the same building one by one. Don't miss out. Can the psychics stop the otherworldly killer? This is Psychic Investigations. There are only true and impressive stories collected here. People who call themselves clairvoyants solve resonant criminal cases and unravel mysterious paranormal phenomena. Olena Hrinchenko has asked the psychics for help. She and her daughter live in a residential building in one of Ukraine's largest cities. The residents of the communal apartments felt like one big family until some kind of mysterious curse began killing them one by one.
Two brothers, Andriy and Ruslan, used to live with me. We grew up together in this apartment.
Brothers mysteriously perished one by one under peculiar circumstances. Ruslan, the elder brother, died when he was 32. The cause of the death was rather unexpected: hepatic vein thrombosis. After a while, the younger brother, Andriy, died in a car crash. He was also 32.
He died momentarily from the fracture in the basis of his skull.
After the death of the brothers, only Olena and her daughter Nastya remained in the communal apartment. She divorced her husband years ago. The woman and her daughter own 3 of the 5 rooms in the apartment. However, they are certain that some kind of evil force has occupied the rooms next door to those that brothers used to live in.
The door handle trembles, clacking, like somebody opens the door, and then I hear the noises. Like somebody has passed by. It all makes my blood run cold.
Later, Nastya also witnessed the mysterious phenomena.
There was no draft. It wasn't windy outside, but the curtains were waving violently, and the ledge fell off.
We were visiting Olena when the flower pot slid. It moved itself, without anybody touching it.
But what happened next caused a nervous breakdown in Olena. She saw a man's ghost in the hallway in front of late brother's rooms.
It moved along the hallway and toward the door like it was going to exit. It was a male silhouette, a little taller than I am.
To recover from the shock, Olena and her partner went to the countryside to spend some time among the nature. If only she had known what nightmare she would have to experience there. She went into the woods to walk the dog, but she couldn't find the way back.
I've gone hiking, and I'm rather good at navigating. I knew I wasn't far away and I could return, but wherever I went, I found myself in a wrong location.
And the most terrible thing is that all that time, in front of her, Olena kept seeing the silhouette of the man who had scared her so much at home.
So I was wandering around the forest trying to find my way out.
Nobody answered her calls for help, and she didn't have a phone signal.
I dialed Mom, but she was out of reach. I cried. I was trembling terribly. I thought maybe I should call rescuers to find her.
Desperate, Olena climbed a tree. Only this way did she manage to get the signal with her phone. However, nobody found her at the spot she described. It was like she was in a parallel realm. At 2 in the morning, Olena found herself at a lake. It served as a landmark that helped find her. But another misfortune happened to her immediately afterward. The car in which her friend was driving her home had an accident.
There was a large vehicle in front of us. It had a huge wagon attached to it. It made a sharp left turn and hit us on the right side, right where I was sitting.
Luckily, nobody suffered in the accident. The following night, Nastya also saw the man from the other world.
I woke up with the feeling that somebody was sitting next to me, and I saw a figure touching me.
And the mother and the daughter will never forget the thing that happened to them after that.
The socket caught fire. It was awful.
The moment they extinguished fire and were standing in the middle of the room, shocked, they suddenly heard a male voice.
There were noises, like a man was talking, but we knew there was nobody else in the apartment.
Nevertheless, Olena and Nastia were so scared that they couldn't make out what the voice was saying. The mother and the daughter begged the psychics to help them.
We can't take it any longer. It's a nightmare. The psychics are our only hope.
The project's strongest participants, Jana Shulakova and Kayal Alekperov, answered Olena's call for help.
I had a very strange dream. In it, I was standing on the rooftop of a building, and there was a flock of birds, ravens, flying above me. And then one of them darted at me. The raven turned into a man and said, "Look what she's done to me."
My jinns are telling me you will hear a woman scream, and then you'll find a dead child. This is somehow connected to Olena.
Hello.
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 You are our last hope.
Give me your hand, please. I feel something smother you at night. I see somebody's hands on your neck.
I often feel something like that. Like recently, I was sleeping, but then I felt something large creeping along my legs, approaching my face.
Like it was crawling along your body.
Yes. And then I felt tight pressure, like it was smothering me with the blanket. Like it pressed the edge of the blanket and was holding tightly. I started suffocating and began screaming.
If it hadn't been for Olena's partner, nobody knows how it would have ended.
I started calling him. He jumped up, and when the blanket was over me, I managed to take a gulp of air. He said he woke up not because I was screaming, but because he felt cold on his skin, like a freezing wind was blowing on him.
I see you look out of the window, and there's a flock of birds flying in circles in the sky.
Crows gather here all the time, and they sit in front of my window cawing.
So, the Raven Man didn't appear for no reason in my dream.
The threat is coming from him.
The Raven Man from my dream was the spirit that Olena and her daughter saw in their apartment. He shifted his appearance constantly, morphing from a man into a bird.
The strange otherworldly entity was a spirit. But why does he turn into the bird? I have a feeling that somebody brought something into your home that summoned this Raven Man. Can we work in your apartment?
Of course.
My book shows me elder brother. He opens the window, and a raven flies inside.
The birds indeed flew into the window. One of them flew into Ruslan's room.
After it happened, your neighbor got a terminal illness.
I had a vision of a car with a young woman at the wheel and a man sitting next to her. I realized I saw the final moments of the younger brother's life. Then something hit the windshield. It was something like a shadow or a bird. The bird is the spirit that hunted Andrei and is now after you. But neither of the late brothers brought the thing that attracted death to their home.
The murderous spirit appeared because of a woman.
Night. A woman. She's holding a bird. The bird is black. And there is something shiny in her other hand. It's either a knitting needle or a knife.
The door banged. but there was no draft.
I saw a young man's spirit in front of the front door. Could it be the Raven Man? Wait, where did he go? The man's spirit entered this apartment. He's about 30. He's young, he stops breathing in his sleep.
Yes, Alexei died in this apartment.
A young woman wakes up next to her man to find him dead. There's a look of terror on her face.
Yulia slept next to him when he died in his sleep.
Olena's friend Yulia and her fiancé lived in this apartment. The couple planned to marry soon, but one night, the man's heart suddenly stopped, just as Olena's deceased brother's. He was 32.
Wait, my book tells me that the woman doesn't live anymore, and it happened not so long ago.
It will be 40 days since she's gone this Saturday.
I have a feeling that she burned from the inside.
Yes, and she was also 32.
Yulia died from cancer. The doctors discovered the awful condition in the young woman too late.
My head's spinning. I can't be here. I need air. Do you hear that?
A crow's cowing. The spirit is trying to tell us something. He's showing me soil in a woman's hands. And the soil is from somewhere with necrotic energy, like a cemetery.
I see a woman. She's crying for her late child. She has fair hair and green eyes. She's a little plumper than you. She says she and her son were killed by a bird.
This is Lyuba. She lived on the 5th floor. Lyuba died last year.
She was pregnant when she died.
Yes, she was 7 months into pregnancy.
Lyuba was found dead in her apartment at 6 in the morning. Her heart suddenly stopped, and she was also 32 years old, and her unborn baby died together with its mother.
6 victims of the Raven Man in the same building. But I feel the spirit didn't want to kill them. Someone purposefully compelled him to eliminate Olena's neighbors.
Then Lyuba's spirit showed me a woman in the courtyard.
The spirit of Lyuba, who lived in this building, brought us to you. Did you know her?
Yes.
It turned out that this woman's name is Lilia. She lives in the next building.
My book says that you saved Lyuba's daughter from the otherworldly entity when you took her away from here. Did Lyuba have a daughter?
Yes. I'm her daughter's godmother. After Lyuba died suddenly, I adopted her.
As it turned, Lyuba was a single mother. Domenica's father left her even before the girl was born. Her second unborn child's father did the same. On the night when the mother had a sudden heart attack, her 2-year-old daughter was with her.
She was crying loudly, and the neighbors heard it and came running.
And you realized you wouldn't let anyone take the girl.
I took her by the hand and took her home. That was it.
The girl had no other relatives except her mother.
I understood that social workers would arrive soon to take her to an orphanage. So I took her home and then went to their office to file for adoption.
Lilia has no children of her own, and she loves little Dominika like her own daughter.
I felt nobody could stop me from what I was determined to do. I did everything not to let them take Dominika to the orphanage.
Lyuba is deeply grateful. She says you feel her daughter, like she's your child. But not here. Here.
Lyuba's spirit was grateful that we'd found her friend. She told me, "Follow the scream." I didn't understand what she meant until I heard desperate yelling. A woman screaming. It's coming from over there.
The residents of the building, who went outside when they saw the psychics, follow Kayal Alekperov.
A dead child, a little boy, was lying here.
It was Lyuba's nephew, Valentin. He was a year and 7 months old when he fell out of the 5th floor window.
Oh, God.
The boy and his parents lived in the same building as Olena, in the Lyuba's apartment.
Did the boy fall out of that window?
Yes. We woke up to a terrifying female yelling. The woman was screaming, "Help!" I looked out of the window and saw him lying down there.
The woman was going to work when she discovered the boy lying on the sidewalk.
The cards told me his mother was blamed for his death.
His mother's name is Anna.
Where was she?
She was in the room with him. She was sleeping, and she didn't feel the boy crawl over her.
At the moment of the tragedy, the boy was home with his mother. His father was at work. It was summer and very hot. The window was open.
They had a couch by the window, and so he climbed on top of the couch and then to the windowsill and...
She only woke up to the screaming.
Most probably, yes.
The little boy's death ruined the family. After a while, Anna and her husband divorced, and the grieving mother moved out of the building that brought her so much pain.
This is very weird. But the Raven Man is connected to the boy's death, too. We need to work in the apartment where the tragedy occurred.
The psychics and Olena climbed to the 5th floor.
I don't feel any negative energy coming from there. Wait, my jinns are telling me that the answer is on the rooftop. The Raven Man is up there. There he is standing.
I feel a tremor going from my hair to my legs, and it's so freezing cold that I have cramps.
He says he doesn't want to kill, but he has to do it. He's showing me something. There's something here. I feel the stench of blood. Jana, look! It's been here for a long time. Jana, be careful.
My God. A bird. A crow's skull, wings, feathers, and soil. So eerie.
These are the remnants of the black bird, and the soil is from a grave. It's a death charm.
Oh my God, who could have done this?
The dead boy's mother did it.
Valentin's mother. Dear God.
It's a ritual on a grave. A summoning of a young man's spirit. A woman is carrying it out. And the bird was a ransom. The bird had been killed. Something went wrong during the ritual, and ever since, the spirit of the man from the grave on which the woman carried out the ritual has been locked in the dead bird.
Anna made him a killer.
But why would she bring so many tragedies?
She wanted revenge.
Because she was blamed of her son's death.
Everyone blamed her. People thought it was her fault. Everybody turned away from her.
And she also blamed herself for her son's death.
And on top of that, she heard other people's accusations.
I'm afraid to imagine the pain the poor mother felt after her little son died. And the people's talks only tore her heart further, killing her. She withdrew into herself and started changing.
Yes, yes.
She began losing her mind little by little because she saw her little son. He haunted her.
The woman decided to use magic to avenge on her peers and friends who had turned their backs on her. This is why she hid the charm on the rooftop right above your apartments. When you suffer from guilt, the last thing you want is deprecation. The deprecation from her closest people made her do it. Each person who tried to accuse the woman died.
Yes.
We're talking about the woman, but I don't feel her among the living.
The one she loved killed her.
She started living with her new partner. He beat her badly, and he eventually beat her up to death.
God, it's terrible. The spirit of the Raven Man provoked her death too.
If we don't stop him, he'll continue killing.
Help us, please.
I needed to carry out the ritual to release the man's spirit from the dead bird.
After that, he can return to the world of the dead, and he won't kill anyone.
I'll take the charm and I'll descend. I need soil.
I will remain here to clean the building of the destructive spell.
The spirit is free.
I neutralized the spell and set protection on all the residents of the building. Nothing is threatening you or your neighbors anymore.
Thank you so much.
It isn't said without a reason. Before you accuse someone of something, you must first take the path they took. In this story, many people paid with their lives for the deprecation of the poor woman. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more incredible investigations are coming up.